All right, this is jpeg2RAW, show number 34, March 27th, with Mike Olbinski, is our guest. Did I say that right, Mike?
It's Olbinski, but that's okay. Very common.
Hey, Governor, always get that messed up. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with the intro guys there. I didn't hear any of it.
I heard it on the chat site.
Yeah,
I muted it, and you could hear it there.
Normally we hear it through the Google Plus here, but starting a little bit late tonight. I had an event to go to, and Mike, our guest, had an event to go to. It worked out perfectly for both of us. So we're glad to get Mike here tonight. We're going to talk a little about storm photography and other things Mike shoots. But before we do that, let's introduce our co-host, Tim Kemperle. Tim.
Good evening, Mike, and everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Great.
And that was Kathleen Bowie. Kathleen, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
And Kathleen, you are going to be moving soon, so you're going to miss a few shows in April. Is that right?
Not that I'm excited about the show, but oh God, please, yes, I am moving. I've been living with my in-laws. It'll be 7 months by the time we get in our house that I've been living with. And I love them dearly, but our stuff is on top of each other. We are on top of each other. My kids' bedtimes are all over the place. They eat sugar 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, it's Grandma's house.
Yeah, yeah. No, that never works out good.
Yeah.
So with that, we can move around. We have another Mike coming back, like April 6th or something like that. First Tuesday in April, and we moved around a couple of the other guests. But tonight, we want to do a little bit of news, not much news. And then we'll get right into some of the Mike stuff. I think since last show, we've had Photoshop 6 public beta come out. And I've downloaded it. I think you've downloaded it, Kathleen, maybe Tim. I don't know about Mike. I've downloaded it, but I have not installed it. It's just sitting there. I have not used it. Kathleen, you said in the pre-show, you said you have used it a little bit.
I've used it a little bit. I was really excited about the content-aware features that have been beefed up. One of them is a content-aware move, which essentially you're supposed to be able to kind of do a loose selection of something you want to move in the picture, and then once you have it selected, drag it across the scene, and then drop it, and then content-aware does its little magic, and then it looks like it's magically, seamlessly in the new spot. They have a video on it that looks super cool. When I tried it with a portrait of a little boy. I had used a really wide aperture, so the background was, had a very shallow depth of field. So I didn't feel like there was a whole lot for the content-aware tool to have to do. And I moved it, and you could see a definite outline of where the portions that I had moved. I don't know, maybe I should have upped my feathering or something. I wasn't that technical with it, so maybe that would have helped. But I have not tried the part where you can select where you want the content or where to pull its information from. I thought that looked pretty cool.
One of the things I want to try, I don't know if you guys, any of you guys ever use the Liquify tool, but the Liquify tool, I don't use it that often. I've used it a few times, but the Liquify tool can be somewhat slow if you ever used it.
Okay.
They apparently are using the video card a lot more in this version than they have in past versions, and the video card has if you have a good beefy video card, has a lot more processing power than your CPU.
Okay.
The kind of processing power you need, and apparently it's supposed to help speed up a lot of those operations, like Liquify and some of the other tools too.
Of course they did, because when I bought my computer the last time, they said, "Do you need a good video card?" I'm like, I don't play video games, I edit photos. So no, I don't have a good video card. That's
and neither do I. Photoshop never really needed a great video card, so I never really got a good one. And I'm really looking to either upgrade my video card or probably go when the Ivy Bridge comes out and rebuild my computer.
I would wait until you hear some reviews on just how much of a difference it makes before going out and blowing $200, $300 on a video card.
Yeah.
And Mike, do you use a Mac or UPC?
I'm a Dell, sorry.
No,
that's a good thing.
And I'm on a laptop, so I can't even upgrade my video card. I don't think.
Oh yeah, so you can't.
No,
even
that you can't.
Card. So the only one here that uses Apple is Kathleen. So I ask you, this is not a criticism, Kathleen.
Whatever.
No, this is not. Just because I'm not familiar with it, but I know a lot of our listeners do use Apple products, a Mac or something like that, or a laptop. And can you upgrade the video card in one of those, or do you have to take it?
I don't know. I don't know because
most of that is sealed in Apple. I don't think you can. You can barely even change a hard drive if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. You can change a hard drive. There's a little plate on the back, and you just unscrew it, and hard drive maybe not. You can add memory to it. That's what I'm trying to say. You can add memory to it. Don't ask me technical questions about my computer.
Tim in chat saying not easily.
Well,
seriously.
I'm just asking because some of our listeners may want to upgrade.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'll just say that. I don't know. I said I want that one and it has a really big screen and I need a lot of memory. That's what
most Apple people would probably say you don't need to upgrade the video card. It's perfect as is.
Well, if you're a manufacturer, whether it's Apple or not Apple, whether it's Dell or Apple, whoever it is, they would much rather you just buy a whole new computer.
Yeah, sure.
And if you're on a laptop like Mike is, it is a little bit more difficult to make those upgrades.
Yeah, I know. My laptop, my Mac laptop that I have, I don't think I can at all because I remember them saying you got to pick what you're going to need because once you do it, that's it. But on my computer, you can. It's just not the easiest thing. It's like my screen is here, and it's a little thing like on the bottom of the screen. There's tons of YouTube videos showing you how to add memory to it.
Okay.
So you can do it yourself.
I think memory is usually universally pretty upgradable, but the rest of it is, you're screwed. I mean, I can do the hard drive and actually I can't upgrade the memory in mine because it's maxed out, but the hard drive's pretty easy to swap out.
I just remember when I was talking to my computer friend about it, he was saying by the time you need more whatever in your computer, you're going to want a new computer anyway because someone who works on it as often as you do, you probably should be upgrading it every 6 or 7 years. So.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years.
6 or 7 years, it's a paperweight already.
Yeah.
That seems like a long time.
It does.
I'm probably in the 2 to 3 years.
Well,
I don't want to make this a computer show, but one of the things that because I do have a desktop PC, is I can just upgrade components as I need to and really stretch out the life of that thing. I can add in, I just recently added in an SSD. Thing is crazy fast. It also now makes my Windows machine crash every once in a while because it's on the bleeding edge of speed. But when it's not crashing, it is fast. And then I can upgrade the processor and the RAM and the video card and all those things and really stretch out the life of it. But you're right. There comes a point where you're just going to have to upgrade those things, whether it's a Mac or a PC or a laptop or desktop. You're going to have to upgrade those things to keep up with some of the software. And I think PCs, if you're doing spreadsheets and word processors and Quicken and that kind of stuff, the computers are pretty much fast enough to handle any of that stuff now, unless you're doing massive spreadsheets.
Yeah.
But photos and video is what you can never get enough speed, as far as what the consumer can buy.
Right.
And now with the new Canon coming out at 20-something megapixels and Nikon coming out at 36 megapixels, I mean, you need all the processing power you can get. You don't like that, Mike?
Too many megapixels.
Yeah.
There comes a limit where it's overkill.
Hey, and that's coming from a landscape guy who sells prints.
Yeah,
Too many megapixels.
So that's a good transition. Let's get right into that, Mike. So,
you might have just skewered me. I didn't even think about that. But.
Well, so Mike does a lot of photography. We're going to be talking a lot about his storm photography tonight, but that's not the only thing he does. He does a lot of very different things, and it's probably not what you do for most of your money either, is it, Mike?
No. Although last year was pretty nice, but no.
Yeah. So you do that more for fun and maybe potentially turn it into money?
Yeah, I'm trying. I got a photo published in Arizona Highways this last February, and that's kind of a big deal for me. And the dust storm time lapse I did last year over Phoenix that kind of went viral. That kind of got my name out there a little bit. I did a lot of licensing with it, and then I did other time lapses and licensed a couple of different ones, not just that one. So part of it is to just do it for fun, but also to maybe it'll lead to something. I don't know what. My dream is, Discovery Channel will walk up and say, hey, we want you to storm chase all over the country and the world, and we'll pay you, and that'll be your job, and I would fall over. But I don't expect that to ever happen. But you never know.
Well, didn't you have something happen to you this past weekend?
Well, I was on Caught on Camera, but that turned out to be kind of, I don't know, not as exciting for me as I thought it was going to be.
What is Caught on Camera? I don't know if I've heard of that.
It's a MSNBC show, and they had called me to do this interview with them, and they were going to fly out to Phoenix, and it just happened to be I was going to be in New York with meeting some other photographers and taking the wife away for a weekend and having fun, and so they said, why don't you just come here and do it? And I'm like, that's even better. I can, brag to all my buddies that I'm going to go do a TV interview while I'm there in New York. And it was a long, hour-long interview about the dust storm video and what happened and the weather out here and all that stuff. And I think they used 2 clips from me. And it was all about this other guy that I know. And so I was a little disappointed that I kind of pimped it a lot to everybody I knew and sent it to my family and all this stuff. And then it turned out to be like, oh, there was 2. I mean, they used my video a lot, so that was kind of cool. But
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to bring that up, but even with that,
it's okay.
Even with that, Mike, that's more than I've done. I haven't been on Caught on Camera, and you mentioned your video, Mike. That if I remember right, it's a time lapsed. I don't know how many images are in that series, but it's about 30. When you put it into video format, it's about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, it was a little bit shorter than that. I kind of stretched it out in a video software to kind of make it a little more slow motion, but I think there was 300 images. It wasn't, it was one of the first ones I did. It definitely wasn't technically the best at all, so usually would have done a lot more images if I could have.
Yeah,
your shots are amazing.
Thank you.
This is just insanity.
Well, we're going to get into them a little bit more because I don't know about how Tim feels, but I think it's a guy thing. I would love to do storm chasing.
Oh my gosh, no! It's not just a guy thing. Are you kidding?
Well, I'm not a girl, so I don't know what's a girl thing.
Well, I'm telling you, it's not just a guy thing, because that's pretty cool. Although, before I go ahead and jump in and buy some new sneakers so I can storm chase, let's talk about the safety issues. Are there any?
Yeah. So I'm well, first off, there's the obvious ones. There's lightning. There's also, in Arizona, there's also flash floods if you're not careful. There's dust storms, which in southern Arizona, around a certain stretch of I-10, there's lots of accidents that happen. People, 60-car pileups because out of nowhere, dust will just cover the freeway and everyone slams on their brakes and crashes into each other. Not all the time. Every couple of years we'll get a really good one. But those are kind of obvious. I mean, other ones are just, you're driving and looking at the storms and not paying attention. You really got to pay attention. I'm really bad at that. I want to take pictures of the storms with my phone while I'm driving at the same time. So, but I think at least for me, lightning is the biggest danger.
Right.
And I'm actually terrified of it. I don't like it if it's flashing over me. I'm not. Most of the time on these shots, I'll set it up, frame it kind of how I want it, and I might sit in the car and run the. I have a wireless shutter release, so I'll run it from the car and just sitting there. And a lot of times my little girl's with me too, and she sits in the back. That's good.
Bring the kids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she stays in the car for the most part.
Bring the kids storm chasing. Yeah,
she loves it. She loves it. She always wants to go storm chasing, and she's like a lightning spotter. She'll point it. She's only 3. She was actually only 2.5 last summer, and she'll point out lightning and whatever.
So now she's not afraid of it. Not yet, at least.
She doesn't know enough.
Yeah.
Tim or Kathleen, have you seen his video yet?
No, I want to see it.
The dust storm one, yeah, I saw it before.
So I can play. I got it queued up here where I can play it here.
All right, play it. Let's roll this.
There's no sound to it, I believe, Mike, right?
No, there's no sound.
Okay, so we can talk as it's going, but it's he's already had over 1.5 million people view this.
That's awesome.
Just on Vimeo.
Just on Vimeo, yes.
Do you not have it on YouTube so you can get money from ads?
It's on YouTube. It's actually on. I don't know if you guys know the people that do storm chasers, or at least if you guys like storm chasing at all. So there's a guy named Reed Timmer, and he has tornadovideos.net.
Reed, so is that like the Dominator, Reed?
Yes. They actually put my video on their own channel on YouTube, so I was getting money from it. Kind of splitting it with them,
great.
But just being, I got to tell you, like all the stuff that happened after that video, the fact that they wanted to put it on their channel was like the highlight of the whole thing, because I love that show, and I love those guys, and I like to do that, so it was pretty thrilling for me.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
we love watching the Dominator and watching them, because they had a string of really good luck where they were getting into stuff.
What's
Well,
that?
that show got canceled, actually, just so you know.
What?
Oh.
Storm Chasers got canceled?
Yeah.
Oh, what a bummer.
Oh my God!
It was good, but it was starting to. I don't know. They were focusing too much on the drama, and for some reason they couldn't turn it around. I don't know why they didn't try to redo it. But
That is crazy.
should have been more storm chasing.
What's a haboob?
A haboob is an Arabic term for a dust storm,
Okay.
and nobody out here calls it that. We call it dust storms, even though some of the meteorologists and weather people, I've known that term for a while. When I saw this thing. The reason I called it this was because I'm a native of Arizona, so I've been here my whole life. I've never seen a dust storm that looked like this. And we had them a lot. Like last summer, this was the first one. We had like 7 roll through town. But even, with that many, I still never seen one like this. And it just reminded me of the ones you see in the Middle East. I don't know if you've ever seen every now and then someone will like flash up a picture on Twitter or something. It'll be.
Right, I've seen one with the military where a guy show the
Exactly.
picture of it coming into the base.
Yeah,
Okay,
and you look at it, you're like, holy crap. So anyway, that's why I was
You
like,
almost
this
don't
looks
believe
like
it's real.
Right, exactly. And so I called it a haboob because I was like, this looks like the ones from the Middle East. And
Yeah.
All right, Kathleen, I'm going to play it.
Okay, go.
Now, did you know this was coming?
I had people, I was actually taking this night off, but I had some people tweet at me some pictures, and I thought I wanted to get a time-lapse of it rolling over the city, so this might be a good night to do it, but I didn't know what it was going to look like when I got there.
Well, you were in the right place, that's for sure.
I was
Oh my gosh! Stop it right now.
It goes all the way to the
Look at the
clouds.
cars just driving. They have no clue.
That is terrifying.
Those,
Oh my gosh!
the wall of dust was like over 5,000 feet tall, so that's why it's like actually hitting the clouds where they were forming. It was ridiculous.
Did you stop right before it hit you?
Yeah, I jumped into my car because I knew this was going to be thick, and I heard all kinds of rumors about dust and sand being bad for cameras, and it's the only one I have.
Really?
I mean, I
Just
had
a little
Play it
bit.
again.
You
Play
wanna
it
play?
again. I gotta see it again.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my
Now, how long
God.
was that time lapse over? Was that
it was-
5
it was only-
minutes?
It was only like 20, 30 minutes. It was really fast. That's what
Was
really.
your daughter with you this time? Because I might get on to you.
No, actually, I mean, the funny thing is, it looks really bad, but it's really not. It's really just dust. It's and some wind. I mean, it was 50,
This is-
60 mile per hour wind. So.
How did
This
you
is
know
like
this
the
was coming?
apocalypse.
How did you
You're
know
in the
this?
right place, too.
Well, I watch weather during the summer in Arizona. We have monsoon season, so I watch it every day. I go out chasing every day, and people on Twitter and Facebook know I'm kind of the weather guy that they're friends with. So people will text me stuff and tweet me stuff and say, "Hey, did you see this dust storm rolling into town?" And like I said, I had been out 4 days in a row or something, and I was going to take the night off, and I had the camera set up in the backyard to time-lapse the sunset just for fun. And I got a text, and so I'm like, okay. That parking garage is like a quarter mile from my house. So I'm like, this is no big deal. I'll just go down there, shoot it. And when I got there, I was wishing I had one of those 14 millimeter or 2.8s.
Yeah.
Right, to
it
really get a
was-
good wide angle.
There's no way. I mean, you have no idea. If I could have got the left side of this in there, it would have been unbelievable. I mean, it was just. That's why I panned it twice, which I really didn't. I'm really disappointed that I panned the camera. I couldn't. I was like, I wanted to get the scope of it, and I couldn't. I should have just left it alone. But it was just. It was like 70 miles long. This wall. I mean, it was just.
What I'm loving
70
is
miles
that
long.
your exposure through the whole thing is so consistent, and you can tell that as the dust cloud is getting closer to you, obviously you're exposing off of the white dust, and so the whole thing just kind of brightens up, which is
Right.
probably exactly how it feels when you're standing there.
Yeah.
You know, it's evening, and all of a sudden all this dust is coming at you, and it feels like daytime is just happening because it's white in
Yep.
comparison to the night sky. It's
Yep.
awesome.
Thank you. It was. I will say this is not. This was one of the early time lapses I did. So I posted a tutorial at the end of the summer on how to do them better and how to a beginner's guide. I definitely don't have the trolleys and all the stuff that some people do that are just absolutely amazing. But for a beginner level, there's certain things that you just need to know from the beginning on how to do it. And at that time, I didn't. That wouldn't. I wish I could have. I wish I could go back and do it again because it technically wasn't how I finished the summer. So.
So did that thing wash right over you?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was immediate blackout. Like you could see that, the freeway was in front of me, all these cars and lights, and once I got in the car, the only light I could see was 10 feet away that was on the parking garage. Everything else was just this yellow or this, dark orange.
So obviously the people on the highway probably stopped then because you can't see.
Yeah.
And you hope the person behind you stops.
Yeah, well, usually you're supposed to, you leave your lights on and you're supposed to kind of pull over and then turn your lights off when you get off the road. But there was accidents, but no one died, and there was no serious injuries, which is like absolutely incredible. And I think it's a testament to Arizona drivers, because it looks scary, but it's really just a dust storm, and we get them all the time, and everyone kind of knows how to drive in them. It's like that stuff that happens everywhere, Yeah,
but there's got to be somebody visiting Arizona like me who's never seen anything like it before, and then just causes a huge wreck.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So how long did it take for it to get back to normal? When it washed over you?
Oh, it seemed like that one was a little bit of time, like about an hour. But the next day there was still dust everywhere. There was, dust. We live in an old house downtown, so dust got in through the cracks and coated your desk and stuff. It was.
Wow.
I mean, that's why it looks so nasty. I mean, it was so thick. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, it's 60 miles an hour. That dust has also got to do a heck of a job to the paint on your cars.
Yeah, I don't know if it did that. I know that what happened was the dust came in and coated everything, and then it kind of rained a little bit, so everything got caked.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
the rumor about it ruining your camera and your lenses is true, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah,
Unless you got like a Canon Mark D 5D or whatever, which is dust proof.
Well, that's what I had.
Dust proof?
I would say
Weatherproof.
dust resistant.
It's weatherproof. I mean, it's...
I would say
My camera,
resistant.
the 5D Mark II?
I think the Mark 5, whatever the new one they're talking about,
Just the 5D Mark III?
Mark 3, whatever. I'm not a Canon guy, so I don't even know the model.
Yeah. So they're saying that one's weatherproof. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would be hesitant to say proof. I would say resistant. I know that, if you ever listen to like Trey Ratcliffe or something who goes to Burning Man, which is out in the desert, he won't take his best cameras because even though he won't change a lens, even with his pro-level gear, he will get dust inside the camera if he takes the good stuff.
Wow. All right, so tell us, what camera are you shooting with?
I'm shooting with a Mark II. That's what I've been using since I think a little over a year ago. I started off with a Rebel, and that's the way it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've just been debating the Mark III because I'm doing a lot of weddings and I really want to back up full frame, and I decided to be smart, and I just got a used Mark II for like $1,600. So I'm pretty happy, but I would like the Mark III, but I'm just gonna wait.
Wait it out.
Wait it out. See what happens.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am too. I'm just waiting it out.
See if anybody has bad stuff to say about it.
Right, before you go and invest full price for one. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Okay, it's a good camera. It's a good camera. So I mean, that's the honest thing is people have been making amazing images with it for a while now. And just because a new one comes out doesn't mean you have to have it. And that's a lesson I try to teach myself a lot.
Until you can find reasons that it's giving you yourself shortcomings or something that you've outgrown, there's not necessarily a need for an upgrade.
The thing is, I had a Rebel as a backup, but I really felt like I needed a full frame as a backup because the look you get with, a prime lens, a 35-1.4 or something, the look you get is just different on a crop, and that's what
it's totally different, isn't it?
And so that kind of thing that matters. It's like I need a better camera for a backup or a second camera. So
yeah. I love that reflection shot of the 24 on the ground with the buildings and the reflection. That's super cool.
That's one of my absolute favorites. It's actually an HDR photo. I don't do too much of that, but I like to use HDR on reflection shots like that because they just gives you so much depth. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are HDR too.
Okay, so tell us about your lenses that you like.
I'm talking about this one.
Well, I'm doing a lot. I mean, I do a lot of families and weddings now. So my favorite lens is 35-1.4. It's like on my camera all the time. It's the greatest freaking lens I've ever had. Which I tested it one time, and I used a 50-1.4 forever, and that was like my lens until I tried a 35, and then I realized I could get like a foot away from a kid's face
I'm in the same boat that you are right now. I had the 50, I borrowed a 35, and now every time I put my 50 on my camera, I'm like, I just want the 35 L series. Do you have the L series one or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the 1.4 is the L. I don't know if there's a different one, but the 1.4 is the L. But that's my favorite lens. I'll sometimes I'll do family shoots and won't even pull out a different one. I have the 70. I have the 70 to 200 2.8, the IS version, not the Mark II, but the Mark I. I got that used, and that lens is awesome. But I rarely. I'll pull that on engagement shoots and stuff, and weddings every now and then for ceremony. And but the 35, I just love it. It's so versatile, and really the ability to get so close to your subject is amazing with it.
Yeah.
The 50, you feel like you're so far away.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I agree.
So Mike, go ahead, Kathleen.
I'm sorry. I also love it. I'm short. I'm just 5'1". And so I shoot a lot of newborns, and a lot of times my setup will be like on the ground,
right?
Like in a basket or a box or whatever. And so if I have my 50 and I want to get directly over the baby and get everything in the frame, I have to stand on a chair to get over the baby. But with the 35, I can just stand right over him and make sure that my toes aren't in the shot, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It saves me so much time.
I think one of the first shoots I did was like a newborn and a little family in the little baby's room, which was like, I want to say 10 by 10.
Yeah, and you're stuck in there.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. Yeah.
You can't go anywhere, and I used that lens for the first time there, and I fell in love with it, and especially for babies, because you can just get right up in their eyes, get right over them. Little kids like to look right in it, and you can get them in focus. It's amazing.
I'm with you, singing its praises.
So Mike, you got a lot of amazing lightning shots. Why don't you tell us a little about how you take those shots, how you set up for those shots? I guess you just know a storm's coming, and you maybe already have your location pre-picked out or something?
No, I mean, I consider myself a storm chaser, so I don't necessarily go and sit, which I would like to do sometimes. I would really love to be able to go. I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon or to Toro Weave or to Page or Horseshoe Bend and sit there and wait for a lightning shot for a week and get the most perfect shot I can. I really wish I had time for that, but I don't. So I mostly just storm chase whenever I get the chance. So really I just watch the radar and go where the storms are, which I like a lot because you don't get the same thing all the time. You just find yourself in the middle of some road and some part of Arizona, and your goal is to frame a shot as best you can wherever you are. And
now, are you going back home every night, or are you living on the road while you're doing that?
No, I go back home. I don't go too far, and I mean I do go far, I guess, but I've almost been to the border of Mexico one day last year, and my daughter and I left at I want to say noon one day and then get back till 10:30 and drove like 400 something miles that day.
Wow.
But I always come home and if I go to the Midwest, that's different. I usually try to make a trip out there for 3 days every spring to try to catch a tornado, which I haven't yet. But that's different.
And your daughter goes? How old is your daughter?
Well, she's 3, going on 3.5 now, but she was 2.5 last year.
And she must be an excellent traveler.
I was surprised that one of those days that I was gone like 10 hours. I couldn't believe it. And she doesn't sleep really that much until she, way past her bedtime, and then she'll fall asleep. But she watches her DVD player and, gets out when I get out, and she just likes to be out doing that. I don't know. I'm lucky.
Yeah,
that's not every kid that could do that. You are lucky.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
My son's good in the car, but I don't know, 10 hours, that's...
No way.
I don't know.
I mean, how long are you on site then? I mean, if you're out there 10 hours driving 400 miles, how long are you out there taking pictures? 2 hours? 3 hours?
Yeah, you stop, take pictures for a little bit, get back in the car. I don't know if it's, with kids, sometimes it's like a training or a habit thing, so it may have just been she was young enough and she just started getting used to it.
She doesn't know any difference.
She doesn't know any different. If I started doing it now, she may not necessarily want to sit in the car that long. I don't know.
Now, I don't know if you can see the photo I have pulled up now, Mike. I love this one. This one,
I too.
It's got the nice blue sky, and then the color on the highway there, and then the gorgeous lightning shot. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, I called this my bucket list shot when I posted it on my blog, which I don't really think I had it on my bucket list for very long. But once you start, once you kind of something pops in your head, you knew you want it, and not too long ago, I decided I want to get a shot hitting downtown Phoenix, and this is from like the same spot where I shot the dust storm, which, you know, I've tried to find new parking garages in different places instead of shooting from the same place all the time. But I was way north of Phoenix, about 30 miles away, and had been shooting lightning up there, and I saw a storm moving downtown, and I'm like, I'm just going to try to go down there and see if I can get it, see if I can go to this garage and get something. And it was raining, and I was on I was on the top of the parking garage, I was the floor under, so I felt kind of safe from the lightning. I don't know if I really was or not, but at least I was safe from the rain. And honestly, it was really like a magical moment, because I was at one end of the parking garage, and then I decided, this isn't the shot I want. I want it over the city. And there really hadn't been a lot of lightning over there, so I set up, framed it, and just said, I hope I'll get a lightning strike. And seriously, within like 45 seconds, this strike just hit. And there hadn't been anything there before. I just aimed. And sometimes I get lucky like that. You know, it's hard.
How do you know it's coming and when to press
so
the trigger?
I've been a little bit about that, but I think a lot of people are like Kathleen and out there listening who have never done these, have no idea how to set them up. I've never done them good.
Well, and really what you can do, there's two different ways you can do it. When I started off with my Rebel, the Rebel didn't seem to have a way to like set it for like a 30-second exposure and hold the button down and it would just keep going. Like, it seemed like you'd have to keep pressing the button. And so I did a lot. When I started off, you do a lot of manual long exposures. You know, you hit the button to hold the shutter in. You could lock it and watch the timer on your back of your camera or whatever. But mostly what you're doing is you're doing a long enough exposure to capture the lightning. And some people will want to capture more than one lightning strike. Maybe they want as many as possible, so they might hold the shutter open for 3 minutes or something.
Wow.
Which isn't always great, because sometimes you get cloud movement that doesn't necessarily look that great. Whenever a lightning bolt flashes, it's almost like it shows you an outline of a cloud, and it moves, so it's not like a smooth transition like you might get in the ocean if it was a long exposure. So it doesn't always work out that way. Most people like to do blending, but really, I've just gotten used to knowing where I am and kind of what the exposure is going to be. You know, if I'm in the middle of the desert and there's no lights, I know it's going to at least be 30 seconds, and I know I'm going to be around like 5.6 aperture, ISO like 200, just depending on how far away it is. And if I'm in the city, I need to up it to like f8 or f9 because of the lights, and drop the ISO so it doesn't get blown out. So there's different things that you do. But yeah, someone just put bulb mode in chat, but really you put it in bulb mode for some of it. But sometimes I'll just put it in manual mode, 30-second exposure, and hold the shutter release down, and it'll just keep shooting 30-second exposures over and over. And I've actually found that kind of relaxing, because I used to be way more in control of it, where I would hold it open for 55 seconds until I got something, and then do another one. It might be 25 seconds, and then I couldn't remember how long I had it open for, and I didn't like, because it would get blown out and stuff like that. So now I can kind of lock it and sit back and kind of enjoy watching it. And so that's what, and I don't know if it's different from the Rebel to the Mark II. I might not have done enough testing, but the Mark II, you definitely can just hold it down, do 30-second exposures in manual mode, and just keep shooting them. And I get out, adjust where I want it. So I watch the storms. I know how they move. I can see it's moving across my field of vision. One good tip for shooting lightning is, if you see a serious rain shaft coming down, usually lightning will strike there. It just kind of happens, especially in thunderstorms. The lightning likes to come out where the rain's coming out. I don't know if it's because it's more electrically charged and all that stuff. And so I kind of follow where the rain goes. You can kind of see it, like this photo right there, the black and white one. You can see the rain kind of falling around it.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
So that was a fun night. But
that is gorgeous. Yeah. What kind of lens are you using? A wide angle?
Well, this was really funny because I don't have it anymore. But the first, I bought a 70 to 210 f4, a Canon. That was like from 1999. It cost me $100 from somebody. Wow. And the day I got it, I took it out and got a couple of these shots over. We were up kind of high, aiming down into Cave Creek, and amazingly, they were actually in focus because there's no image stabilization on it. It wasn't the greatest lens in the world. But now I've got the 70-200. I didn't have that last summer, so I can't wait to use it this summer.
And they were asking out in chat about wide angle, but I guess these lightning shots are pretty far away from you, so you don't need necessarily the wide angle.
Right. Well, it really depends. If it's really close, you do want You know, you might pull out the 17 to 40 because it's so close, but that's usually when I, sit in the car and hope my camera doesn't get struck. But a lot of times I use the 50 or 70-200. But I think I actually use the 50 a lot for lightning.
And how far away are you from these? And
well, like this one's far because this one was like 170 millimeter on full frame. So this one was like 15 miles or something.
Oh, geez. Okay.
If not more than that. So some of them are really, really close.
So you're relatively safe at that distance.
Yeah, I have one. I'll see if I can find it real quick because this was like a quarter mile away, and it's like one of my favorites.
I'm going to go ahead and venture to say that since you chase storms and I don't, I will probably be the one that gets hit by lightning. Never will.
Yes.
So
how are you focusing? Are you just going to infinity?
No, a lot of people a lot of people do that. They just go to infinity, and I don't think that works. Especially, it works sometimes. When you have no option, then it works. But if you're shooting at 5.6, think about like how wide your aperture is when you're focusing on people on like a photo shoot, and you like back away from your subject a little bit.
Yeah.
I just really think when you're wide open at like even at like 4 or 5 shooting lightning, that the focus, a slight twinge of the focus can make it blurry. And to me, there's nothing worse than a lightning shot that's slightly out of focus. It just looks ugly. It needs to be perfect. And so what I usually try to do is I will try to zoom in, go to live view on my camera, and zoom into anything I possibly can see through it. If it's a star or the moon or lights that are far off, I get those in focus, and that's what I try to do. If I don't have it, then sometimes I'll try to park my walk away from my car by 100 feet and focus on that. I find that's better than just focusing infinity. I've tried infinity sometimes, and it just hasn't been perfect focus for me.
All right, I'm trying to get that.
So
holy crap, that was close.
That is a scary shot.
Trying to find the right shot there.
What's crazy about that shot is, I guess the one below it, I don't know if the one below it doesn't work anymore, but...
no, you can...
propped it a certain way. I don't know if the one below is not... Oh, the one below and it's showing up. So you can see the second one, that there's a trailer off to the side, and that was...
It got hit?
No, not... Well... I guess that is a trailer. I meant like a trailing lightning bolt. So that was like all part of the same strike. Like what I'm trying to say is like if you were 5 miles away, this would all be like a small part of your picture. But because I was like a quarter mile or less, the strikes are so far apart, but it was all the same lightning strike.
Oh my gosh!
But I shot this through my windshield. I had the camera braced on the dashboard with the windshield wipers going, and there was no lights around, which really helps because if there's lights, you get glare from the water, from the rain. So this was pouring rain. I had the windshield wipers going like at a certain speed where it wouldn't shake the car, but just enough to keep kind of the rain off. And I aimed it because I knew the lightning was all around me. I aimed it here, and I'm just freaked out when this thing hit because it was really close. It might even be a quarter mile away. It might be less than that. So.
The fact that when it hit. And you caught it, and your wiper wasn't in front of the shot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables going on here.
Well, how long is your exposure on this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like 25 seconds or something.
All right. So the wipers just fade right through it. You don't see it. The rain is gone.
Well, especially when there's like I said, if there's no lights around you, like you see in front of me, none of those lights are on. There's no other lights anywhere, and so when it's pitch black, nothing's gonna.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So
I see. Okay.
And that's kind of why I also got lucky on this shot because I aimed somewhere where I knew there was no lights. Other directions there were lights. So I'm like, this is the best place to aim, so I don't get that glare off the windshield.
Yeah. And how were you bracing it for a 25-second shot?
I don't remember. I had it propped up on like the shoe mount or something. It was on the dashboard, but I had it propped up so I wouldn't see the dash. It had to do something. I couldn't remember, but I had it steady enough. This isn't my favorite kind of lightning shot. I really want artistic, but this was just a fun one where I'm like, I can't do anything because it's absolutely torrential rain, so I'm just going to aim out the windshield and see what happens.
Well, it looks like it's just right off the side of road to you.
Well, I can't, some people have said that I can't tell if it's the glare from maybe the rain on the window that makes it look like it's hitting the ground right there, or if it, actually is. To me, it looks like it's hitting right over the top of the hill. And that's just glare from the rain on the windshield. But,
so now, right after that lightning strike, you close the shutter then?
Yeah, I let it go after that. Yeah, yeah.
That's an amazing shot.
That is.
It was fun.
Yeah, I'm getting. You can say that now.
Pictures.
Wow. What?
I'm getting scared looking at the pictures.
It's really, you know what? It's so much fun because it's always different, and there's this adrenaline rush and this like awesome feeling of capturing it. I mean, you can go out and capture kids, you get that awesome shot of a kid or a bride or something, and that's fun. But lightning is always different. It's never the same. And even guys that I stand next to, I have kind of like a little bit of a following where a bunch of us will go out or we'll meet up on the road and stuff. And even we're 20 feet apart, we don't necessarily get the same exact shot. I mean, we can tell it's kind of the same, but it's there's a real adrenaline rush and excitement about capturing it on camera because it's just, I don't know, it's this thrill. I did it.
And also, like with a child, most of them, you can kind of coax them into giving you that giggle or that smile. You can't coax the lightning to perform. Like, it either happens or it doesn't, and you have no control over it, you know?
Yep.
And you must be when you look at them later, you must not know exactly what you got until you look at it later, right?
Well, okay, so this is my little thing about that, because I go against everything you're supposed to do, which is most people will tell you if you want to make sure you get every lightning shot, don't check back to see what you just got. Keep shooting because you don't want to miss anything. If you stop, look back at what you got, all of a sudden you miss a lightning strike. Like sometimes lightning happens so fast that even that brief second between one exposure and the other, you miss it.
Yeah,
and I started off doing this with a point and shoot that did 3 shots a second, and I would hold it down on a tripod with this crappy point and shoot, and even at 3 shots a second, I would still miss lightning strikes. And that's when I knew I got to have a better camera to do this, obviously.
Yeah.
And so that's how fast it is. So anyway, but I break the rules because every time I see an awesome lightning strike, I will stop and hit play to see what I had. I don't know why. I just have to do it. I don't know.
And when you do that, do you even see, like in this photo we have up here above the clouds, it looks like there's a little lightning trailer up there.
Yeah. Yep. And I think I actually called this one Over the Top. I used to do a movie title Wednesday series on my blog. Every time I post a picture, I had to name it a movie, so this was called Over the Top because it came out the top. But yeah, sometimes they do shoot out the top. In fact, there's lots of pictures from space of lightning on giant clouds that are actually coming out the top, hitting the atmosphere. It's kind of crazy. Not this one though. So there's another one. I want to just talk about the getting the shot.
Yeah.
And there's a shot I just posted. Only this one is one of my favorites from last year because it's really different looking.
I love this one.
What I was.
Oh, I think I have this one. I need to find it.
Oh, I don't know if you. I hadn't seen it, so I didn't know if you had it or not.
The one you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, the purple
rain. We'll come back to the one I just had pulled up. I want to find the one that Mike is showing. Oh my God, there's so many. I know there's so many we want to go back to. We got to go back to some of those.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the black and white one over the city is really one of my favorites.
Okay, I found the one you wanted to talk about, Mike.
Oh, okay.
I had that one, but I want to.
Oh my God! Oh my gosh!
As I was going through them, I go, no, we want to talk about that one. We'll talk about that one. Okay.
I think what I was going to say is like sometimes what's great about lightning is it really is. It's such a, like you said, like capturing the moment and making the kids laugh. Kathleen, when you were saying that, this shot. I was literally like praying out loud, and I kept panning my camera to the right, to the right, to the right, because this amazing sheet of rain that I'd really never seen like a wall of rain like that before, and it was just moving along. It really was only a matter of like probably from where it was there to the off camera would have been like a minute. I mean, it was moving that fast, and so I just kept panning my camera and praying that I would get a strike before it was like behind the mountain, before my composition wasn't what I wanted, and then all of a sudden, boom, it went, and that's of course I stopped and wanted to look to see what it looked like, but it was like this euphoria where you're like, I got it, like I was just praying that it would strike where I wanted it, and that's why, and that's really what makes it so exciting because no one else can get that shot. They had to be standing next to me. And even then, if they were between exposures, they might have missed it. So it's like no one else can get that shot except you, and so that's what's really fun about lightning.
I love the way this one's framed too, because it looks like everything's coming down on top of that lightning strike, and it's just holding everything back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what's kind of weird about it too is usually, like I said, sometimes lightning likes to come out of the rain. Yeah. And I had been watching this one, and it was coming out in front of it, and so that's what I was praying that I would just like pop out where it did.
And the way that it's illuminated, the top of the cloud is just gorgeous.
Yeah, that was one of like, and I really, I take a lot of shots that kind of sometimes end up looking the same because you're far away and you just kind of like a dark sky and you see the strike come down. But this one was so unique looking. I think this shot was licensed through Acorn Publishing. They do like the premier weather calendar every year. You can find it like in any mall or whatever. And
that's awesome.
They actually licensed like six of them, and I think this is either on a whole month or something else. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thrilled to death about that. I was super excited about that.
That's awesome.
It is.
I'll have to look at lightning calendars next year to see if I see your name in them.
Look for the Acorn Publishing one. I'll have to send you guys a link or something.
All right, Kathleen.
I can't help but look at your pictures and just kind of be rocked to the core about how powerful God is. I mean, hello,
How scary at the same time.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this one. I love how the color in these too, because is in this case it looks like it's nighttime, and it's probably dark until the lightning strikes.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
And then you have all the color.
Yeah. Well, and and I do processing on these. I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to lightning shots, and I try not to be. But no, someone Jennifer just asked, the processing will enhance it a little bit, but the color, you get the colors just based off of the sky. I mean, that's just kind of how things looked. And a lot of times it just I don't know what it's based off of, I don't know, but sometimes the colors are different. But I like to process them a little bit, and I do, I use silver effects a lot for a black and white, like a luminosity mask over top of it, and I like add a little bit of structure, a little bit of contrast, just to make them look a little bit more than just right out of the camera. And I really feel like that's kind of like something good to do. I think if you just shoot it and don't do anything with it, anyone can do that, even though it's not necessarily easy to get the lightning shot in the first place. But the silver effects is awesome for that, just to bring out just a little something extra. And it doesn't look drastically different from from the original. It's just you kind of enhance like the sheets of rain coming out there, so you can just really see the amazing, the amazing
I'm going to
things that God
ask you two
can
questions on this. Are you shooting RAW, I assume, and what do you do for white balance on something like this?
I was thinking about that because I was talking to someone, the color and stuff. I think I leave it on auto white balance, so that's just kind of what it's set for. I might actually play around with, doing white balance this summer, like a fixed white balance, see what happens.
I don't know. I mean, for me, the white balance is so you're not making someone's skin look green. But with this, you're not photographing something that should stay specific. I mean, I guess if you wanted it to be specific as it was by your eye, then that would be important. But I'm not going to look at an image of a lightning bolt and say, "Ooh, white balance off."
I mean, but honestly, if you look at this, you see the lights of the city look like normal lights.
Right. So, that's what I saw on the bottom right. That's why I asked.
It's not like the lights in the city are purple, and so everything else has like been faked and changed. It's the lights are what they should be. So
you know what the lights of the city do for me? It gives it the image scale. Yeah. I mean, look at how massive that lightning is compared to the tiny city. I mean, I think
it looks like a transformer coming out of the sky.
Yeah. Now you mentioned Silver Effects. Silver Effects by I think it's Nick Software Silver Effects is generally used for black and whites. Yep. But this is not a black and white.
Well, that's like I do a black and white version of it. So I use a plugin now, but I have Silver Effects too. But I'll do a black and white version of it, and then bring it into Photoshop, and then I do a luminosity blend on top of it. So that goes on top of the original image, and because of that, you get all the stuff that Silver Effects gives you, the structure and kind of the tweaking, which I'm sure you could do it in Photoshop, or you could use color effects and do all the same stuff. But I don't know why, but I've kind of like the way because I think what the other reason is I actually do a lot of black and white lightning strikes. So I like to start it in Silver Effects to get what I want. Well, that way you can see what
it looks like and decide, nope, I still like the color, and back it out if you want to.
Right. So I bring in the Photoshop and try to blend it and see.
So you just do a luminosity, and then it takes away the black and white effect and brings everything back through?
Yep.
For your blending mode, right?
luminosity masks. They're awesome.
Okay.
So it's not a mask; it's a blend. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it blends all the structure and the everything about that black and white layer except the color. So
And now this one looks like a black and white shot.
Yep.
And is this one, that all these lightning strikes happened at the same time?
Yeah, that was a 30-second exposure, and sometimes you get one shot, and sometimes you get like all those, which is looks like 5, and yeah. And I've gotten in one of the shots. I don't know if you have it, but I have a shot where I got 5 or 6 strikes in 10 seconds.
Wow,
it was unbelievable.
I know they say that lightning never strikes in the same place twice, but it's coming awfully close.
Yeah, really.
Well, you have to give me. I've got a lot of them, but I don't know if I have that one. What does it look like?
What?
The one with 5 or 10 shot.
Oh, it's on the side. It's like a slanting side of a hill. I can try to find it for you real quick. It's let me see. Shouldn't be take me to. Yeah, it's called The Hills.
Your pictures are like making my heart beat faster. It
That's
gets
a great
me
shot.
excited.
Thank you.
It makes me think to myself, why do I go hide in my room every time there's a storm when I could be safely somewhere within the confines of my car with rubber tires watching this display that God's putting on for us? I mean, it's amazing.
In reality, your car is like the safest place. So
that's what I've heard.
Even your house, I think, gets struck by lightning and catch fire and stuff. Where your car just goes around your car through the frame. And
I got a lightning story. So we moved into our house. We moved into a house in October of whatever year that was, and I put up my first ceiling fan. I was a new husband, young, and I was so proud of myself. Put my new ceiling fan up. Later that night, I heard an explosion. I thought, "Oh dear God, I've hooked it up wrong, and now I've blown the breaker." And I go run out down to the breaker where the breaker was, and of course the door was flung open, and the main thing is tripped. And it turned out that my ceiling fan was wired correctly. We had got struck by lightning. And it blew a 3-foot hole in the ceiling.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it blew, and then the roof came down the side of one of the rooms in the wall. At a corner of your sheetrock, there's usually a metal strip.
Right. The corner bead
came down that thing, blowing that thing out as it hit nails. It blew it out, and then it singed the carpet where it hit. And then the weird thing was it blew out random things all over the house. The garage door opener, something out on the deck, just weird things that weren't on the same breaker, and tripped the main breaker on both of my neighbors' houses.
It put a hole in your roof?
Yeah, we knew something was wrong when we walked outside, and there were shingles laying on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was you putting in the ceiling fan. I don't think it had anything to do with it.
I agree with Tim. I think you did something wrong.
That's what you told your neighbors, and your ceiling fan blew out their breaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the ceiling fan still works when we turn the power back on, so I don't think it was that.
Funny thing, it wasn't even a storm.
Yeah.
Lightning is powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Pat just said that photographer Tamara Lackey was just in a car that was hit by lightning.
Yeah.
Did she get hurt?
I'm sure she didn't. Well, I mean, unless she, freaked out or something. I don't know. I mean, Pat, tell us more, Pat.
Come on, Pat. Don't leave us hanging.
I think that a car, I think you mentioned this earlier, Mike, is grounded by the tires.
Went through the car and out the tires.
Yeah, so you should be okay.
Well, there's actually a YouTube video of a guy driving down, and you see it strike his windshield. You see this orange, hit the windshield, and they just kept driving. It didn't do anything. So
he says the car was totaled.
Yeah, I bet it fries all the.
Yeah, I was going to say it fried the electronics.
Yeah.
So what do? You just got hit by lightning. Now you just got to sit there.
Yep. Hey, at least you didn't die, though.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
How could be replaced?
The image we have up in this, you had this in another one too. I love when you can see other things because you get the scale of the power.
Okay, the composition of this one, I know that you're keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that the lightning hits there and saying your prayers.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
I did see you can see where the rain is kind of falling down, and so I had been aimed. I kept my camera aimed to the right, even though I was terrified that it was going to move off camera, and then finally got that strike there. So it,
because you wanted it composed with the city.
Yep.
You're so good. That's
no,
awesome.
It was thank you, but it was if you were out there, you would see compositions and do the same thing. It's just a matter of being out there and doing it. And the thing about all these lightning shots I have is I can't remember the total. I know I drove over like 4,400 miles last year total for my business, but at least over 2,000 to 3,000 just for storm chasing. And I was out so many nights, and there's a lot of opportunities for me to do this. It's, if you go out in one storm, you're going to get skunked, and you're not going to get anything because it's just a bad night. And the more you go out, the more chances you have to do this stuff.
Right.
And
does your wife ever go with you?
No, not really. Usually she takes it as a break. So.
Yeah, she's like, go, take the child. And
taking the child is kind of my, pass to go do it.
That's right. There you go.
That's a good move, Mike. Yeah.
You're not getting off scot-free with just you and your camera. You got to at least have some responsibility on board.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is we just adopted a little boy, and he's seven weeks old, and so we'll see what. It still will probably be the same thing, that getting one kid out of the house and leaving it with just a baby will still make things easier. So.
Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's a good time.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you that earlier because you make it look easy, but I imagine there's a lot of work, and a lot of times you go out and you don't get anything.
Yeah. So I honestly had a really good summer last year. It seemed like it was really easy, and I think some other people that went out with, they had an easy time. The summer before was harder, but I also last summer I expanded my horizons, and I went to Tucson. Tucson's a good hour and a half, 2 hours away, and I was down there at least 3 or 4 times, and just other places where I drove where I needed to go, and I think that's to me that's the definition of kind of storm chasing, is you don't just sit around and wait for it to hit you, or you drive 10 miles out of town and hope to get a shot. You really want to go after it, and because of that, I think that's possibly why I had such a great summer. I went out whenever there was a storm, and some of the really bad ones, I was out a lot, and I'm blessed with a good, my day job, which I may not have, much longer, at least the rest of the year, but I work from home, so I have a lot of freedom to be able to bail out like at 2 or 3 and get to where I need to go. So I'm blessed with that too.
That's awesome.
And I have a shot up here that's not a lightning strike, but is that a sunset or a fire?
It's sunset. Rain was falling, and but it was really light rain. So that when the sun set, it just lit it up underneath. It was unbelievable.
I hope that's not a fire.
Have you done any shots of the moon when it feels like it's like red and in your face?
I have one shot of the red moon this year, and it's with my 70 to 200, and it's not very big. It's just kind of over some pine trees. It's more, I think, like artistic. But I don't have. I mean, even with the 200 millimeter on a full frame, you can't get that close. You really need 400 or 600 millimeter to get those really tight shots that people get.
Yeah, it's just I don't know about you, Mike, but a lot of times if I'm driving home from downtown Atlanta on 85, that red moon will be setting.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like, where do I pull over? And then of course all I have is my iPhone, and you take a picture with your iPhone to send to your husband. It's like the size of your pinky. Trust me, it's amazing.
If you start asking what aperture or what f-stop were you shooting?
I know. Oh yeah, of course you will. Yeah.
So is one of your goals to get a tornado?
Yeah, I would like to. My bigger goal is, I would like a tornado, but I really like storm structure. It's kind of hard to describe, but the storms in the Midwest, they rotate. They look like motherships arriving from Close Encounters or something. They have such epic scale. What's really powerful about them is they're really a single entity. Like the monsoons and stuff in Arizona, they're like clusters of thunderstorms that build up together and kind of, but in Midwest, they're like one single storm that rotates and feeds and will move for like 60, 70 miles. And so what's fun about that is you can actually chase it. And in Arizona, chasing is kind of different because they build up, they rain down, and then they fade out, and then the outflows create more storms, and they kind of just go wherever, and you kind of just have to know what's happening. In the Midwest, they track for like hundreds of miles, and so because of that and the structure and stuff that you get with them, they're just amazing. And I would love a tornado, but I really want to get just an amazing circular rotating storm with awesome foreground. That's really what I want to do. There's
that purple one, love it. Oh my goodness.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. I love how the clouds are kind of like curved
Surrounding
around
it.
the lightning coming out.
Yep. Which one are you talking? Oh, this. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but
The one in chat.
oh, that one. That one, yeah. That one was ridiculous because all the other lightning strikes I got were kind of normal looking, and then this one went nuts, and it had like a bazillion tendrils come off it.
Yeah, look at that.
And I just when it's really big on my screen, the high res version,
Yeah.
when you zoom in, it's like you can see other ones that you can't even see here, and it was just it was pretty incredible. I think this is also in that calendar too.
Look at you. You're in a calendar.
I'm in a calendar.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that.
You
There's a
should
lot.
be.
I follow a lot of storm chasers on Facebook, and the guys in the Midwest. And there's one guy. His name is Stephen Locke, and he's awesome. And he was in the calendar last year too. And so just being able to kind of be in that class, it was really awesome for me.
That's
I wanted
awesome.
Can we talk about a few of your, as we're getting toward the end here, we've been an hour, talk about a few of your non-lightning strike photos? Because you had some, we're mainly talking about your storm stuff, but you do a
Look
lot
at the
of...
sunset one. I love that.
Yeah, the next one.
With the green building?
Is this the one, Kath? Hold on a second.
Yeah, that one.
You
Did
do
you
a
use
lot of...
Huh?
Is that a fisheye or just extra wide?
No, it's just it was 17, I believe, and I'm actually not even sure that was with my full frame. I can't remember. It's just I think it's really the curvature of that building in the road that makes it look like a fisheye.
Okay. It's gorgeous.
So are you doing like I'm going out to shoot lightning, going out to shoot storms, but before that, sometimes there's just gorgeous scenes?
Yeah, I love all that, and so that's and actually last year was funny because I had you flashed over a cover of the book I do, and last season it seemed like all I had was lightning shots, and towards the end of the year I'm like, I don't have any daytime shots. Like I have some, but not like I did the year before, and I was actually stressing out that it was going to be this book with nothing but lightning, and I didn't want that. So I kind of focused a little more, and I got more at the end.
Who do you publish your book through?
It's Blurb.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's cool. I really want. I approached Arizona Highways to try to get them. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Arizona Highways. It's kind of, it's part of our history here. It's been around for like 100 years, and it's people get it across the world, and they publish other things besides their magazine and calendars and books and stuff. So I've tried to approach them to become my publisher. We'll see. I'll try to wear them down after a while.
That's awesome.
But a lot of these are HDR, and it's funny because these shots, really a lot of them appeal to people, and I still like them. But I've gotten away from doing so much HDR, and I'm doing a lot more like the luminosity blending and masking and stuff. I'm doing a lot more of that these days. That's
really cool in this shot with the tree, how the clouds are like pointing at the tree.
This was not sure. Oh yeah. That was actually in Kansas last year when I went storm chasing, and it was a bust. We had no storms that day, so I was trying to make the best of it. It was an awesome tree.
It really did.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a bust.
And your HDR is not over the top. I mean, it looks like it's well produced HDR.
Yeah, it is. It's just there's still sometimes a little bit of a look that you get, and I still like it for urbex kind of like decayed kind of scenes or certain things. But I've really been trying to focus on a little bit more natural looking, just for things like Arizona Highways and stuff where they prefer a little bit more of that, and I kind of like that a little more these days. So some of my recent blog posts are a little more kind of like that. So,
and anybody watching this now or watching this later, go out to Mike's site, because what we're showing you here is a reduced quality version, so we can stream it and you can see it. The true quality of his stuff, you got to go to his site to see. But I love some of these building shots, like this one. I'm not quite sure how you process this, because the processing looks interesting.
I definitely, some of these HDR ones like this, I do like to, if it's not a lightning or anything else, I will go crazy with the processing. Like urban, the reflection shots, I don't try to keep it natural, I go nuts. So this one is, I used On1 photo tools a lot, and I still have that. And,
we gave that away a couple of shows ago.
Yeah. I still am stuck on the previous version. I think I've heard good things about the new one. I had some problems with it, and I don't necessarily use it that much anymore, so I'm kind of stuck on the photo tools. But the stuff that it has is like the filters and stuff are awesome. So, this was an HDR, and I did it. I do it in a certain way to try to keep it real natural, and then I go in and kind of process it to give it a fun little, different look to it.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find one of the ones you were talking about, reflection shots. Yeah, I love some of your reflection shots, like this one.
That is so stinking cool.
Is that the 24?
Yeah, the 24.
Yeah. I printed that on...
How is that still running? They'd pick this shot up in a second.
Who?
That show 24.
24.
Oh, yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
I wish it was still around.
That would have been
Me
a great
too. Now he's got...
right there.
Touch.
I don't like
Yeah.
his new show at all.
I'm trying to watch it. It's just I feel like it's gonna be the same thing every week, and so I can't get into those shows as much anymore.
I'm always going to know him as Jack Bauer now.
That's right.
Yeah. Even though he plays kind of a weakling in this one.
That's why I can't watch it.
Yeah.
I can't see Jack Bauer as weak.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you went back and watched the 24s now, you might, because my husband and I didn't watch it when it was new, and so we're watching it now, and it kind of looks like... I don't know if you guys remember the movie The Left Behind series. It's something that us church folk grew up with, and I remember thinking, like, what are they wearing, Because it was, like, so old. That's how I feel already about 24. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's a bad shot. Why are they shooting through the blinds? Who's watching them? Oh, that's just what they did. Okay.
What they did. Yeah. No, I got this shot. This shot I got printed on metal from Bay Photo, and it's absolutely incredible.
That must be really nice on metal.
It's so nice on metal. Any kind of like reflection, I think, is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's a good point. I need to try that. So, how big did you print it?
They were 12 by 18s for a show I did. But our church, I go to church downtown, and we have a gallery downtown, which I think is amazing. We participate in First Fridays every month, and so we have different kind of artists and stuff show their work downtown.
That's cool.
Not church people, just anybody really. And so they had me show there twice, and so I got a bunch of these kind of reflection shots and a couple different ones printed up on metal, and they're all 12 by 18. There were like 6 of them, and they kind of bought them because the church wanted to keep them and hang them on the walls in the offices down there. And they're awesome. I mean, they're $50 a piece though at 12 by 18, which is the top part.
Wow. That's my tithe for the month.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at the hour, so I think let's go ahead and close out the chat. See if anybody has any questions in chat that we.
I know. I saw Scott had a question about meteorology, and I will say that I think storm chasing, understanding weather, and understanding how it works is definitely key. I mean, especially if you're in the Midwest, you need to understand it, or else you're going to get killed out there. And if you don't know which way the storms are going and what they're doing, you're in trouble. And out here, I think part of the reason I get a lot of storms is I know how they work, and I know where they go, and I know what's going to happen. I read really nerdy forecast discussions like 3 or 4 times a day. I know when the really bad stuff is coming up, and I know where it's going to be. And I actually have connections with the weather guys. I give them my photos to use for their classes that they teach. I let them use anything they want, and so I've made a lot of friends down there, and they're very helpful. I mean, I can email these guys and say, what do you think? And they'll, the main meteorologist, National Weather Service in Phoenix, will email me back and tell me,
wow, that's awesome.
Maybe what he's thinking. And so anyway,
you told me the Storm Chaser show has been canceled, so Reed Timmerman's probably looking for something to do.
Oh, he's probably got grants and all kinds of people.
Well, he might look for a new driver because he and Joel don't always get along.
Yeah, well, his friend, another guy named Dick McCown, and I like him a lot, and I think he drives for him a lot of the times already too.
Of this whole show, that's the one thing that's really disappointed me, because you've told me I did not know that show was canceled.
I know.
That's just really
I was actually not as disappointed as I thought I would be, because it felt like, it really was like, I watch a lot of TV, and I pride myself on being a pretty good TV critic, but that was like one of my top 5. Like I couldn't wait for it, and it was over so fast. It's like 8 episodes, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like how the one team with the GMC pickup truck, the white truck.
Yeah.
They got so conservative they didn't do anything in that last season.
There's a lot of storm chasers out there that they could just include in part of what they're doing, and have a lot more just storm chasing. I think people would watch it, or people would like it a little more.
Yeah, storm chasing on top of each other and take out the drama.
Yeah.
And Jennifer asked a question out in chat. Which storm chasers do you follow?
Okay, so Stephen Locke, and his last name is Locke. He's an awesome photographer, and he does time lapses and stuff, and he's great. There's another guy named Shane Kirk, and I think both of them live in Kansas. There's actually so many of them that I would have to really like go create a list. I mean, I must follow like 50 or 60 guys from the Midwest, and it's kind of like I kind of lose track of who's who. But there's another guy, and I don't know when he's very active. Okay, so the guy that kind of inspired a lot of my black and white work, his name is Mitch Browner. I don't know if you ever heard of him. The stuff on his site is just freaking where I'd love to be someday, and that's why I want to get the clouds that he sees. But he does some kind of infrared, funny black and white. I don't know if it's infrared, but his processing is definitely different, and he makes the clouds just look evil. And so I don't know if he does post a lot of new stuff, but I know he's a storm chaser, and he was just on an ad for like Google search or something, like they used him in one of their ads. Wow. I don't know, something huge like that.
So when you say you follow them, or you follow them on their website or blog or like Facebook or something?
Mostly Facebook. You know, there's the guys from Storm Chasers, they have a website, tornadovideos.net, and all the Storm Chasers have live webcams during chases, and you can click on their cars and watch where they are and what they're seeing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So during, at least for me, it's pretty cool. Yeah. I'll spend an afternoon like trying to keep track. You know, you see a good storm and you see someone on that storm and you click on their camera because you know they must be.
Do you have a camera on yours?
No, it's not. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, but you know, this is becoming maybe because of TV show, maybe even before that. More people are doing this. Are you finding when you go out, there's just a ton of people out there?
Well, not here. I do feel like you know, a couple of me and another guy kind of were doing it, and then some other people kind of jumped on board, and so suddenly I'd be out, and like all of a sudden 4 of us or 5 of us would meet up, and you'd be like, oh, okay, we're all getting the same shots kind of thing. Let's move on. And
yeah.
So I think it's like caught on just a little bit, but in the Midwest, it's almost an epidemic where, you know, even I'm part of the epidemic because I go out there for 3 days in the spring and like try to storm chase alongside those guys, and I know for some of them the roads are really crowded, and
yeah.
Arizona doesn't, you know, Arizona offers awesome lightning and great landscapes that you don't get in the Midwest. The Midwest is flat cornfields and wheat fields, and Nebraska's nicer, kind of different, but Arizona gives you that, but it's still not enough, I think, to draw tons of people.
I can't imagine it's that great here, Kathleen, in Georgia.
No, I usually handle the storms in the basement.
Well, you know, the only time I've ever heard the tornado sirens go off here was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And my son and I pulled the truck as much as I could into the garage. It won't all the way fit in there because it didn't want hail to get on it. And then we put our soccer chairs in the back of the truck and sat there and watched the lightning storm.
Yep.
As my wife was yelling at us to get down in the basement.
Yeah, and I gave you a hard time about it too. But now after I see these pictures, I'm like, wow, I'm really missing out. But still, the back of your truck during the lightning storm, not smart. Get in the car and turn the wipers on like a smarty. No,
what I should have done is set a camera out somewhere. But, you know, we got trees everywhere. I wouldn't have been unless it went all in the sky or came down on one of the trees, I'm not going to get anything.
Right.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
We have one last.
Yeah, probably not.
We have one last question from chat with Scott. It says, so with all these great shots you have, how do you push yourself to get that next great shot or to try something different when it seems a lot of it is based on the luck of the weather?
I don't know. It's like, for me, I just don't get tired of it. It's like, you were talking about sitting in the back of your truck. When I was a kid, one of my first memories, I don't know how old I was sitting in the patio with my dad. And we were just watching a lightning storm, and a lightning strike hit like a quarter mile away in the field behind our house. And I remember being completely blinded for like a few seconds and not seeing anything. And I've been hooked on the weather ever since. And so for me, it's like, once I get a good shot and I post it, it's like, okay, so that one sucks. Now I need to go get a better one. And I just, and I got some really awesome strikes last summer. And sometimes I worry that I'm not going to get another good one. But you know what? That's what's fun about it is lightning's actually, and that kind of storm chasing stuff, I think you're always going to get a unique shot because of just nature in general. Like you said, what God does amazing things, and He's always giving you something unique. And it's like there's always something awesome that you're just not gonna. You don't know what you're gonna see, so you got to get out there and do it. And I never get tired of it, honestly. So
that's awesome.
You said something else, and we'll close here. You said something else that reminds me of something. You know, a lot of great photographers, you know, Scott Green out there is an awesome photographer. Kathleen is awesome. You are. Is that you probably all, what you just said where, you know, that photo sucks, I need to move on to the next thing, is you probably have never got the shot where you say, that is the best shot I'll ever take. You know, it's you're always thinking of how can I do better, you know, I want to get a better shot, improve. And that self-drive that you have is what helps you continue to get better.
Yeah, I think sometimes at the time you think, oh my gosh, I can never get anything better than this. I know, you know, it's a little bit different, but that time lapse, the dust storm time lapse, I don't think I'll ever get anything like that again. I think that was like the epic, you know, viral video of my life, so nothing's ever going to happen. So I kind of like things like that. I kind of like, okay, you know, that's it. But the, you know, the photos, you think, you know, you see one and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to lightning strike like that again. So why should I even try? But you still, I don't know, you still do. There's always something better. That's why people keep, otherwise people would have stopped taking pictures 100 years ago because everyone would have shot everything. So we want to keep going.
My best friend always tells me every once in a while, she'll be looking through my stuff, she's like, ooh, Kathleen, that one's a price changer. That's what she calls my good shots, price changers.
That's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it. All right, well, Mike, we're going to close out, but hang on for a second. Everybody out in chat, thank you very much. We have a few days left in our Lightroom 3 giveaway, which I didn't say during the show. But, you know, it's running through the end of March. Lightroom 3, got 2 copies, actually, that we're giving away. If you want to get in on it before the end of March, go to our website. They actually are at our website right now if you're watching this. We have a button that says jpeg2RAW giveaway, and it'll tell you what you need to do to get it. Thanks, everybody out there in chat, for coming by.
Mike, we loved having you on the show, so thanks for giving us some of your time and some
excellent shots.
Thanks, guys.
Amazing shots.
Beautiful work. Beautiful work.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, hang out for just 1 second, Mike. All right, chat, thank you very much.
Night, chat.
We'll see y'all next week.